Hey everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Nexus, the podcast where we dive into the crossroads of technology, science, and, well, all the weird and wonderful mysteries shaping our future. I'm Sean. And honestly, I'm super excited to kick off this journey with you.
And I'm Alice. Here on Nexus, we're not just talking about the latest gadgets or apps. Each week, we'll explore everything from mind-bending science mysteries and strange facts, to wild conspiracies, the search for extraterrestrial life, the frontiers of space, and of course, the tech that's changing our world. If it's fascinating, a little mysterious, or just makes you go, wait, what? It's fair game for us.
So, whether you're a tech enthusiast, a science nerd, a skeptic, or just someone who loves a good mystery, you're in the right place. We want Nexus to be a space where anyone can join the conversation. No jargon, no gatekeeping, just real talk about the questions that keep us up at night.
And since this is our very first episode, we wanted to start with a topic that's, well, kind of impossible to ignore. Today, we're talking about artificial intelligence, what it means for our jobs, our safety, and, maybe even our survival. No pressure, right?
Yeah, no pressure at all. So, what if the technology we're building right now could outsmart us? Like, not just beat us at chess, but actually become smarter than any human. Ever. And what if the guy who helped invent this stuff is now warning us about it?
That's right. Today, we're talking about the warnings from Geoffrey Hinton. He's often called the Godfather of AI. He's the guy who, spent decades making neural networks work, and now he's kinda sounding the alarm.
So, let's get into it. We'll break down what Hinton's worried about, what excites us, and, I don't know, where we might be headed. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future episodes.
And stick around because we'll find out, really, whether AI is more likely to save us or, do the opposite.
Okay, so, Alice, let's start with the basics. Why is Geoffrey Hinton so worried?
Well, Hinton's main concern is that AI could become what he calls superintelligent. That means, basically, it could get smarter than us, way smarter. And, we've never had to deal with something smarter than us before. He actually says, if you want to know what life's like when you're not the apex intelligence, ask a chicken.
That's kind of terrifying, but also, weirdly funny. But he's not just talking about, robots taking over. He's worried about all the ways AI could be misused. Cyberattacks, fake videos even. New kinds of viruses.
Yeah, and he points out that cyberattacks have already exploded, by over 12,000% in just a year. And with AI, it's easier than ever to, clone someone's voice or image and scam people. He even talks about how AI could help create new biological viruses, which is, honestly, that's the stuff of nightmares.
And, it's not just about, hackers in hoodies. Hinton's worried about governments too. He says that even the best regulations, like the ones in Europe, don't cover military uses of AI. So, battle robots, autonomous weapons, those are basically a free-for-all.
Exactly. And he's worried that the people making the rules don't really understand the tech. He tells this story about a US education secretary who kept calling AI a one in a speech. It's funny, but also, a little scary, right?
Yeah, it's hey, we're putting this stuff in charge of our future, and the people in charge can't even pronounce it. But Hinton's not all doom and gloom. He says AI could be magnificent for healthcare, education, and any industry that uses data. Imagine, AI doctors that never get tired, or tutors that can help every kid learn at their own pace.
Sure, but he's clear that the risks are, unprecedented. And the scary part is, we don't really know how to deal with something that could be smarter than us. He says, anyone who claims they know exactly what's going to happen is, talking nonsense?
And he's not alone. Some of his former students, like Ilya Sutskever, who helped build GPT-2 and worked at OpenAI, have left big companies because they're worried about safety. That's, kind of a red flag, right?
Yeah, and it's not just about the tech. Hinton talks about how the profit motive can push companies to do things that aren't great for society. Like social media algorithms that show us more and more extreme content just to keep us clicking. He says, we don't have a shared reality anymore.
So let's talk about jobs. Hinton's got this line. He says, train to be a plumber. Like, seriously, he thinks physical jobs are safer from AI, at least for now.
Yeah, and he's not joking. He thinks AI is going to replace a lot of mundane intellectual labor. So stuff like legal assistance, call center jobs, even some creative work. And he's skeptical that new jobs will just magically appear, like they did in past tech revolutions.
But I kind of want to push back on that. I mean, every time there's a big new technology, people freak out about jobs, but then new industries pop up. Maybe AI will create jobs we can't even imagine yet.
Maybe. But the point is, this time could be different. If AI can do all the thinking work and machines already do the muscle work, what's left for us? Some experts even says, nothing remains.
That's, kind of bleak. But okay, let's talk about regulation. Hinton says we need highly regulated capitalism. But who's actually going to make the rules? Governments? Tech companies?
He's not super optimistic about that, honestly. He points out that regulations often don't cover military uses, and politicians don't always understand the tech. Plus, big companies are legally required to maximize profits, which doesn't always line up with what's good for society.
And, some even says that if Europe regulates too much, companies just launch new AI models in the US or somewhere else. So it's like, if you try to slow down, you fall behind. It's a real catch-22.
Yeah, and that's why Hinton says we need global cooperation. But let's be real. Getting every country to agree on anything is, not easy.
Yeah, we can't even agree on what to call football. But okay, let's get back to the human side. Talks about how, even if we had universal basic income, people might not be happy. People need purpose.
Exactly. It's worrying that, if AI takes over most jobs, people could lose their sense of dignity and meaning. And, that's not something you can just fix with a paycheck.
But isn't there a chance that if we don't have to work, we could spend more time on, art or volunteering or just hanging out with family? Maybe it's not all bad.
Maybe. But, the point is, we need to think about these things now before it's too late. We have to face the possibility that unless we do something soon, we're near the end. That's pretty heavy.
All right, Alice, let's get into it. I mean, I get the risks, but I still think AI is more likely to help us than hurt us. Think about all the diseases we could cure, or how much easier life could get. Am I just being naive?
I don't think you're naive, Sean, but I do think you're maybe a little too optimistic. The thing is, the same tech that can cure diseases can also be used to, create new ones. And if we don't have strong rules in place, the people with the most power, governments, big companies, could use AI in ways that hurt regular people.
But isn't that true of any technology? I mean, cars, electricity, the internet, they all had risks, but we figured it out. Why should AI be different?
Because this time the tech could actually outthink us. Experts says if AI ever decides it doesn't need us, we might not even see it coming. That's a whole new level of risk.
Yeah, but I just feel like if we put enough smart people on the problem, we'll figure out how to make AI safe. I mean, there's still a chance.
We need to put enormous resources into figuring it out. And right now, most of the money is going into making AI more powerful, not safer.
Okay, fair point, but I'm still holding out hope.
And I hope you're right. I really do. But I think we need to be honest about the risks, and not just assume everything will work out.
So, what do we do? If you were in charge, what's the first thing you'd change?
I'd probably start by making sure that every big AI company has to spend a chunk of their resources on safety research. And real transparency, so we know what these systems are actually doing.
Yeah, I like that. And maybe, more education for politicians so they actually know what they're regulating?
That would help. And, maybe we all need to get a little more involved, ask questions, push for better rules, not just sit back and hope for the best. If you're listening and you've got thoughts on this, are you more optimistic, like Sean, or more cautious, like me? Let us know in the comments. Seriously, we want to hear what you think.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends. The more people join the conversation, the better our chances of, not getting replaced.
Or at least not getting outsmarted.
All right, that's it for today's episode. Huge thanks for listening.
And remember, stay curious, stay cautious, and maybe learn how to fix a leaky faucet.
See you next time.